Good evening, everybody. Call to order the Economic Development and Planning Committee. Is there any discussion before we start from any of the legislators? If not, we had two speakers tonight. Looks like we have one. Patrick's not here. Tolga Borowski from the Greater Mohawk Valley Land Bank is here. Give us an update.
Yeah. And I brought John Montgomery, our project manager, along again. We have a handout. I think you all should have a copy. And this is just kind of a quick snapshot of all our different properties in Montgomery County, just to give you a sense of where we're at with each one of the projects. I will touch upon the first three, and then I'm going to hand it over to John. But just because I know that there's been a lot of interest in 219 Canal and the adjoining lot, we've been working with the neighbors of those two properties, the first two, the Pineros, the Kilmartins, and the Canes. And what we're doing, and I know some of you have been on the email thread, but we're working with them to figure out what parts of the adjoining lot they wanted. And they have different things, different issues. We're addressing trees on the site. I think we're removing 6 or 7 large trees, including one at the front that's leaning on a power pole to address those issues. We tried to work with National Grid, but they were not comfortable dealing with it. And we're going to re-allot those parcels, hopefully to adjoin them to the neighboring lots. 132 West Grand Street is the Stone Lodge and Palatine Bridge, which I think you're all familiar with. There we've done a lot of stabilization work. We've gone in and stabilized the chimneys. If any of you are from the western end or local, you've probably seen it. We've put up braces both on the exterior and on the inside. We've removed stained glass windows from the interior of the building to protect them from further damage. Some of them were in a bay where there was some stone coming off of one of the chimneys. We're also taking out some curved windows that are quite expensive to be able to then stabilize that whole bay, and then we'll put them back in afterwards. And John's been doing quite a bit of work. We're working with SHPO and putting together a couple different bid packages to get the masonry repaired and to do other projects at that site, including probably removing the back of the building, which is an addition that's in really rough shape. So we're moving along there. But in all the cases of anything that's older than 50 years, we've been working with SHPO to do what's called historic tax credit projects on these, so that with those, when they're sold, they can be sold with a pretty significant tax credit that would go to the buyer, that they would be able to recoup on some of the investment that we've put into properties. So I'm going to leave it to John to go through some of the other ones and just touch on some high points or the information on the chart.
Sure. We've invested a lot of time and resources to get our pre-development stuff going. We've had environmental surveys ordered up, special surveys selected, lead survey selected. That way when we come in spring, when the ground warms up, when the air warms up, we can actually do some exterior improvements and move forward with roofs and interior work as well. We did have a couple surprises. There's a couple properties that were thought to be potentially demolition projects, like 20 Lydia Street, for instance. Once we got into that, once we got inside that building, we learned that the building was actually very well built. It also has some very unique characteristics and local, really for the time period. It's a Victorian era home, but yet the trims were like well above that as far as detail. And the SHPO came by us, also looked at this building and confirmed that. So we decided to do some stabilization work instead. We patched up the roof so it gets through winter and dries up. And then we're going to try to do a restoration project instead to save this building. Otherwise, all the uniqueness of it will be lost. The Charleston Street property, you know, Sprayers, the trailer that's damaged. We're pretty close to making a decision on that one, getting it removed. That way the neighborhood gets cleaned up. And this big and dilapidated trailer, which has been empty since 2005, that will be cleaned up. Erie Boulevard, Kennedy area. We learned that that building has an interesting septic issue. We're working on getting that resolved, to be able to no longer have to cut across the neighbor's property with our septic service, and be able to tie it directly to the street. So, I mean, it's a little bit more complex being a state highway, but we're making progress in getting all our permits in order and making those, communications.
Is that down by the falling out?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a really unique circumstance. I guess the building was the last one at the time that was constructed, and they tied it in, it ran 100 feet across the neighbor's property to the nearest tie. Since then, bowling alley and other development has happened, they put one for the gas station. So it's really 14 feet away is where the tie is now. And it freezes because it's shallow.
Yeah, it does.
So, I mean, it's something we're going to have to address, and we'll commit to do so. Do you have any specific questions regarding some of these properties? I know some of them are in different territories and regions throughout the county.
Just a general question.
Sure.
Who goes about doing the analysis of the building condition, like when you decided that the building didn't have to come down, it was structurally stable?
I do that. I do a condition assessment based on what I see. And it'll be a building analysis of framing, of construction components, foundation, roofs, et cetera. Damage in the past, does it have heavily water damage, the ceilings falling down? Pretty much just the current needs assessment as well.
And I'll add to that, some of them, like 21 Lineage, we brought in SHPO, which if you're not familiar is the New York State Historic Preservation Office. So since that building was so unique, we brought them in, they were very enthusiastic about it. And we also worked with a couple different structural engineers and obviously the asbestos and lead testing companies and things like that. So when we have, we usually go in with a target number of estimated, asbestos, so it could be anywhere from no asbestos at all to 20, 30,000 in mitigation. So that also helps inform what our outcome is going to be, because we're looking at kind of the gap funding, where we are with our budget and what the total expenditure are. But with everything, we try to be very deliberate and go through and, figure out to, mitigate, asbestos, address and mitigate lead where we can and things like that, so that not only is this house can be reused, but that it's family safe and something that, you could put someone you cared about into the building.
Thank you. Thank you.
We also had, Chairman Hedwell had asked us to take a look at 11 Ann Street, so I'd like John Wood to give a quick update on that.
Sure. 11 Ann Street is a
Full.
Yeah. I guess that's the property that came up through the second round of foreclosure bidding. Didn't sell with initial bidding in the summertime. I did an exterior assessment around Christmas time. I thought the building had some interesting characteristics to it, but it had some significant construction issues as well. It definitely appears to have a lean. The whole building appears to be leaning toward 5S, as well as the porches were deteriorated so much so that they're falling on the building. On Monday, I went in with a grant to code enforcement officer to the inside of the building, and the interior is heavily distressed. The floors are going every which direction. The fireplace is cracked significantly. Many of the walls are cracked and split. I put my level on the front wall of the building, and it was leaning about 3/4 of an inch per foot. So the building is significantly leaning, as well as it was issues of foundation compromise. I recommended that this building cannot be salvaged or restored or rehabilitated based on the needs that it has. Grant concurred with my assessment, and that would be willing to help the county with demolition if we're asked to do so.
So do you foresee any new funding coming from the Attorney General's office?
Yes, we actually, since we last were here, we got another award of 1.2 million for our next round of projects. So these ones that we acquired in August would be in our first round of funding, but that is for another year to 2 years of projects.
So you have 6 counties. Do you distribute that equally, or?
Yeah, it's four counties, 2 cities. And we have, we break it out, we have a formula, but it's equally divided per FGU.
So looking at $200,000 more for Montgomery County?
Well, part of what's happening is some of the counties are not haven't been as quick to kind of get up to speed as Montgomery. So Montgomery and Herkimer have really been at the lead. So what we've been doing is we're really looking at it as by project year. So we're really looking at the total funding. So we're investing more heavily in Montgomery and Herkimer this cycle. And then the idea being is like, let's say ski area, when they get up to speed, then, you know, the third year, maybe there'll be more investment in ski area at that time. But we're keeping a running tally for each one of our FGUs. We're also working on more funding from SHPO as well as HCR. We've been in a discussion with Homes and Community Renewal about scattered site housing improvements. So ideally, we'd like to get some gap funding for them for another 20 to 30,000 per property. That'll help our main grant last longer.
Does anybody else?
Tolga, the parcel that's connected to the 219 canal street, I know there's been discussion about parceling it. I believe you're going to do a line adjustment. What's the process going to be? There's been discussion of lot line adjustments, and then at one point it was going back to the auction. What's the process going to be as we stand?
Sure. As I discussed it a bit with Megan and with Bob, but by law, we're required to put everything out to bid. But what we would do is we would sit down with and we have been working with the neighbors. 2 out of the 3 have already given us their desired line adjustments. We're just waiting on the third. And so then we would put it out to an open bid. And I don't necessarily know that a lot of people are going to be bidding for a 5-foot strip, you know, along the back of somebody's house. So I think the expectation would be that it would go to the adjacent neighbors, and then they would have to adjust their line to incorporate those strips.
So that's something that the land bank, that's a law or something?
Yeah, it's, I believe, section 16 of the New York State or 1600 in the New York State nonprofit law, but it requires for all dispositions that we have to go through a bidding process, a public bidding.
Thank you for your help on Canal Street.
Sure. And
Worked out for a bad situation, worked out well.
yeah, and you know, we try to do that with every property. I mean, every property we're going to the neighbors, we're talking to them about what they want to see. It's not just, you know, that one. That's really part of our process. Is we see it as, you know, in the auction, maybe one of those owners would have been happy, but here, you know, we're trying to please all 3 of them if possible. And we're paying for the surveys and the, you know, the adjustments and all that stuff.
Very good, thank you again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Is there any more questions?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Thanks,
Thank you, Tolga.
Yeah, thank you.
Now we can move on to the resolutions, if no one has any further discussion. First resolution is a resolution authorizing the county executive to sign a grant application and establish public hearings. Office of Homes and Community Renewal, proposed Vita Blend LLC project, economic development and planning. Have a sponsor, Martin. Dan, second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of moving that to the full legislature?
Aye.
Thank you. Second resolution is a resolution establishing a fair housing officer, Section 3 coordinator and labor standards officer, and adopting a Section 3 participation plan. Sponsor? Dan. Second?
Second.
Roy. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of moving the resolution to full legislature?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Resolution is moved. Resolution authorized, number 4, resolution authorizing county executive to sign a revolving loan agreement, fund agreement with Vita Blend, economic development and planning. Have a sponsor, Martin. Mr. Pepe, second. Any discussion? All those in favor of moving it forward?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Resolution is moved. Thank you. The next resolution and final resolution is a resolution authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement with Gore Construction Company Incorporated for the demolition services at Exit 29 redevelopment project, economic development planning. Sponsor, Roy. Second, Brian. Discussion. All those in favor of moving it forward?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Resolution is moved. Is there any other, anybody would like to discuss? If we don't, we have a motion to adjourn. Roy, seconded by Martin. Thank you. Adjourned at 6:15.
Call the Health and Human Services Committee to order. Is there anyone wishing to speak before the committee? Legislators, people from the audience? Not? We'll move right into the resolutions. We have one resolution authorizing county executive to sign contract with Ventec Inc. I'll look for a sponsor. Legislator Papp, seconded by Legislator Wilson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carried. Is there anything under other? If not, I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Okay, and I'll second it. Adjourn.
Call the Physical Services Committee to order at 6:15. Discussion? No discussion, we'll move to the first resolution. Resolution authorizing the county exec to sign a contract fire security agreement for public safety facility, public works.
I'm sorry, who was the first one?
Chairman Bennett. Discussion? All those in favor of moving to a full board? Opposed? Abstained? Okay, resolution number 3, authorizing the county exec to sign an intermunicipal agreement for the leachate disposal of the city of Amsterdam Public Works. Discussion? Legislator Sweet and Legislator Kelly.
Sure.
Okay.
An amendment to this resolution.
Okay.
It's the resolve clause.
Oh,
That's wrong one.
that's for five.
Wrong one.
Yep.
Sorry.
That's for five, sorry.
Take that back.
Oh. It's not for this one, Lincoln? Oh. Okay, sorry.
Take that back. Okay. I have no amendment to this resolution.
Any other discussion?
My bad.
Want to move it to the full legislature? Opposed? Abstained?
It's budget.
All right, next resolution. Resolution authorizing the county exec to enter into a contract for engineering service for roadway drainage improvements to the County Road 31, Schweitzer Hill Road with Greenman, Peterson, Incorporated, Public Works. Discussion? Legislator Peck?
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Kelly, second. All those in favor of moving it to a full board?
Aye.
Want discussion? Any? All right. None? Okay. Any opposed? Abstained? So moved.
Legislator Sweet, that's the next one.
Next resolution, 5 on my sheet, resolution authorizing Montgomery County Executive to sign an amendment contract for waste transport services associated with the Montgomery Transfer Stations, County Legislature.
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Sweet. Have a second. Legislator Peck. All those in favor of moving it to discussion?
I do have
Okay, sorry.
amendment for this. It's with the resolve clause. It says should be resolved that Montgomery County Executive, upon review and approval of the county attorney, is authorized to sign and execute the amendment for the transportation services associated with said contract for a period to commence on January 1, 2019 and terminate on December 31st, 2021 for the rates of transportation services not to exceed $29.77 a ton for 2019, $30.36 a ton for 2020, and $30.96 a ton for 2021, with a fuel trigger point of $3.
And the reason for the amendment is we were able to negotiate the fuel trigger point to a more favorable number for the county.
So it should be a safe.
Get a second. We have a second for that? Second. Legislator Pat? Okay.
You have a question?
Yes, sir.
Did we budget for this increase, Sean? This new contract, 2% increase?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, move it to a full board?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? So moved. Motion to adjourn?
I'm not on the committee.
All right.
I'll second it.
Call Public Safety Committee meeting order at 7:22.
6:21.
Sorry, 6:22. 21, whatever you want to. 6:21, everybody. Is there any discussion? And let's have an permission to take an additional resolution on the agenda for tonight, a resolution confirming members of the Montgomery County Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, Youth Alternatives to Incarceration, and Veteran Services. Do we need a resolution for this tonight? Do we have permission to add that to our agenda? Okay. I'll take it out of order. Can we have a sponsor for that resolution? Okay, Legislator Sweet and Legislator Martin. All right, and is there any other discussion for this resolution? And all in favor?
Aye.
All abstained? And so that moves to full board. What's that? Yeah, all, I'm sorry. I said all in favor. It's approved to move to full board. Thank you. Now, let's move on to our other resolutions. Resolution authorizing the county executive to sign New York State Indigent Legal Services Grant, Contract Distribution, Second Upstate Quality Improvement and Caseload Reduction, Public Defender's Office. Do I have a sponsor? Martin? Sponsor Roy, second. Roy? Okay, is there a discussion on this resolution? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, it's moved to full board. Number 3, resolution authorizing the county executive, that's Matt, to sign an agreement accepting the FY 2018 State Homeland Security Program, SHSP Grant Fund, and amending the 2019 operating budget, emergency management. Do I have a sponsor for that resolution? Martin? Ryan? Okay, do we have any discussion on that? Okay. Consider your own committee, you know. Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Moved to full board. Okay. Sorry, you guys. It's been a good day or two, so. Resolution authorizing. Okay, we're on number 4 right now. I got myself mixed up today. Resolution authorizing the FY 2018 State Emergency Management Performance Grant, EMPG, from New York State Homeland Security, and amending the 2019 operating budget, emergency management. I have a sponsor for that. Martin? Okay, all right, Mr. Pep on that one, please. Seconds it, and so we move it to the floor for discussion. No discussion, come on, you guys, you gotta discuss some things a little bit, you know? Okay, all right, we'll vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Moves to full board. Okay, resolution number 5. Resolution amending 2019 operating budget with carryover forfeiture money. District Attorney's Office is the sponsor for that. Martin, you're really active today. A second? Danny? Okay. Now let's move it to, for discussion. No discussion on that one either?
I've had a good day or two, too.
Okay, very good. You must have been busy, huh? Okay, so, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Move to full board. Okay, we've got a resolution confirming the appointment of the Director of Emergency Management made by the county executive. Do I have a sponsor for that? Roy and the board chairman. Okay. Mr. Edwell will second that, and we have some discussion. We have Rick out here in the audience, and instead of having him give us a report, we all know him very well, and I would think he can give a little brief summary of what he did for.
I'd like him to give us a pick for the Super Bowl cover. He is in the Football Hall of Fame.
Well, he can do that at the end. Let him do it.
The Saints probably lost.
So it's gotta be Rams.
Not that it's necessary, but can you give us a little description of what you did when Jeff was down there?
Okay, over the last 5 years, I worked side by side with Jeff. After my retirement from General Electric, worked on almost every project that Jeff has pushed through, starting with the wing that we're in, helping with that design, communications project, the new garage, through the snowstorms, weather forecast.
And I need to comment, you sure kept us informed during the snowstorm very well.
I do my best. And of course, I've been around with emergency management since 1988. Held the interim director's position in 1989 and in 94, both times for around 10-month period. So I'm well versed on what tragedies can befall here in town. Everybody jokes with me that the only thing I haven't seen is volcanoes and tsunamis. So let's hope that continues to keep everybody safe.
Were you around, I just one question, were you around when we had the major hurricane?
Yes.
You were at that time.
Hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, ice storms, blizzards, major structure fires.
That was the worst one out this way, wasn't it? Questions?
You did a great job. I would just offer congratulations to you. I'm well aware of your many years of dedication and the caliber of your service. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Duke, did you work with them a little bit when you were chief? Or you were?
Yeah, when Duke was chief, there was some fires that we participated in.
Yeah,
Duke's got a lot of experience in that area too.
a little bit.
Okay,
Just look tonight, he's already got, he's looking in the job for another 3 weeks and he's already got grant money. See?
why is he,
Doing better than Jeff already.
there you go, okay. Any other questions? Roy, nothing?
No, I know Rich for a long time.
Okay, Brian, Martin, nothing. Okay, very good, then let's, take it to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Let's make it a unanimous vote by the board to move it to full board. Okay, very good, let's move that to full board, and I think, does that wrap us up?
No.
With one more.
We got one more, number 7. Okay, resolution amending the 2019, gotta get used to that 19, Matt, operating budget to transfer funds to the assist the veterans in need, youth and veterans committees. And I have a sponsor for that. Martin, you should, because of your association with the veterans, so you deal a lot with youth and veterans. That's good.
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Pep? Okay, thank you. And what's the discussion? Any discussion on this? Mr. Pep is waiting in the wings very anxiously to get up here, so. Shall we take,
Still got a ways to go, Joe.
shall we take a vote on that? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? So we'll move that to full board. Is there anything else for the board tonight? Okay, who's gonna give me Roy will give me a second motion to adjourn. There you go. Thank you very much, everyone.
Looks like you missed the net.
Okay, we'll call the Education Government Committee to order. First thing on the agenda is discussion. Privileges of committee chair, committee members, or any of the legislators that have anything to discuss. Now we'll move right on to the resolutions. First resolution is a resolution appointing member, Montgomery County Jury Board. Need a sponsor? Dan, second. Third, Pep. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So carried. Next resolution is a resolution confirming appointment made by the county executive to the Fulton Montgomery Community College Board trustees. Need a sponsor? Sarah Wilson, second. Consider Pep. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? So carried. The next resolution is a resolution appointing a member legislator to Cornell Cooperative Extension, Fulton and Montgomery Counties Association Board of Directors. Need a sponsor? Mr. Patel, second. I'll second it. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Abstained? Carries. That's the last resolution. Anything under other? If not, need a motion to adjourn. Dan, second. Roy, second.
Okay, we'll convene the Personnel Committee at 6:32. Any discussion? We have one resolution. It's a resolution amending the 2019 operating budget, memorandum of agreement between the County of Montgomery and CSEA Local 1000. Yes? Oh, yeah, thank you, appreciate that. So, is there a second? Thank you. All right. Discussion?
Yes. I just wanted to ask a question of the county administration. Just get an understanding for the rest of the legislature as far as how this wasn't completely on our radar for 2019 so far as the budget was concerned. If somebody could just give us a little background, because obviously we're using up the rest of our contingency here. We're tapping fund balance, which we try not to do. So just wanted to get a better understanding behind how this evolved to this point.
I would say the biggest point of that is important to keep in mind as we go through this process is that going back into last year, we were able to reach an agreement. It was a long and difficult negotiation process. We were able to reach an agreement. That agreement was then voted down, and I would say our expectation that an agreement would be reached early in the year was very minimal. And at a mediation or arbitration, which is the more appropriate word, so mediation, we were actually able to work through some pretty big differences. And so I would say that if we would have expected a passage earlier in the year, it certainly would have been more on the radar. But given that we were also somewhat surprised that we were able to reach an agreement, and then furthermore, get that agreement to pass, because as Nicole was talking in her presentation at the beginning of the year, a lot of what she and the team had prioritized, such as emergency room copays, the percentage of the employee contribution, there was a lot of resistance to that, and we quite frankly were surprised that it got done. So I think it's just as much we were as you were. We're happy that we got it done. I think it was, we all agree, it was a very reasonable deal in which, you know, we didn't get everything we wanted, but we got a good deal of what we wanted, and I think the other side got, you know, the raises that they were looking for to the extent which we could, as far as we could go. So I would attribute that because, you know, when we went through the first one, this one isn't really a whole lot different than that one, but because it was voted down, we were skeptical of whether even after we reached the agreement, if it was gonna pass. So I would say that's just kind of the way it unfolded. It's a surprise to us that this is on the agenda in January as well.
I mean, I believe we all knew we had that target of 300,000 set aside for this, but obviously, that's about a third of what it took to settle it, you know, from 17 through 19. You know, certainly don't want to be in a position, if at all possible, to exhaust the contingency, you know, in the month of January. Understand it's a necessary evil that I even recommended when confronted with this resolution over the phone late last week, just so that we didn't have fund balance to a higher degree. But certainly going to require us to be austere in our fund balance depletion this year of any extra things that may come along the way now that our contingency's been exhausted. So
Thank you. I would open it up to the team if there's anything I missed there as far as.
I would add that this agreement was signed in December 10th, for our mother, so it was very late in the year. You know, there were some other things that we did get with the increased copay in the ER, which was pretty significant, to try to steer some of the usage away from the ER that was not emergent. That was a big hit in our budget over 2017, so that was pretty important to do that. We also lowered the copay for online health to try to encourage some use there. We lowered that to $15. So there were some definite good things on the county side as well that should benefit the employees as well.
thank you very much.
I have just a little bit here. You know, I understand that once the memorandum of agreement is signed, we're all in, we're committed. That's really the end of it. The only thing we have left is where the money's gonna come from. We don't really have a lot of choices at this juncture. On the other hand, the contract does go through 2021, so that we can certainly plan for those increases in the out years. This is a four-year agreement, right? 1 year retroactive, 2 years.
I think it's 17, 18, 19.
17 is the bonus, not added to the base. And it'll be retro back to 1/1 and 18.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, if not, is there anything else that the legislature would like to discuss? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We have to vote on that? I think we're all in agreement, but we'll do it anyway. All in favor of sending this to the full legislature?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion is carried. Now I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to call the Budget and Finance Committee to order at 6:40. this is a committee of the whole. Is there anything anybody would like to discuss before we get into our resolutions? Hearing none, we'll move to our first resolution. A resolution amending Resolution 297 of 2018 and amending the 2019 operating budget. Do I have a sponsor? Legislator Sweet, second Legislator Diamond. Any discussion on this resolution? Hearing none, all in favor of moving into the full board?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you, it carries. And our second resolution is a resolution approving abstract of audited claims. So I have a sponsor, Legislator Sweet, Legislator Wilson with our second. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, thank you. As you see on our agenda, our next bullet, given the month and the organizational meeting at the beginning of the month, we didn't have our budget workshop, so we're going to look to do a quick budget workshop here as part of this Budget and Finance Committee meeting. So, excuse me, I'd like to direct all of you to your dashboard reports and remind you that we are looking at a dashboard report as of fiscal year end December 31st, 2018. And certainly we're at a point in time during the year where everything should be at 100% or close to 100% since we're looking at a full year, except for those categories that we know have a 60-day lag. I'd like to talk a little bit about sales tax, even though that is, on the number. The sales tax amount that you see here year to date, $28,525,000. This meeting happened so late in the month that this is actually through November. So Sean updated that for us before he reissued this dashboard report. So given that number through November, and given the history that we have experienced according to our treasurer over the past couple of Decembers, we've averaged about $2.2 million in sales tax for the month of December the past few years. So adding that to the total, I mean, essentially this should have us on pace for around $30,700,000 in sales tax for year end 2018, which would be about $2.25 million over budget, which certainly noteworthy, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. Our next category worthy of discussion here, state aid other in the red still at 84% through a full year. And comprising that amount are the main contributors are mental health, public health, and an economic development grant. Of the mental health, the budget number for mental health within that number was 3.7. We've received 3.5 million, so 200 short there. The public health, we've received $1 million out of $1.3 million budgeted figure, so about 300 short there. And the economic development grant, we've received about 189,000 out of a budgeted 988,000, so about 800,000 short there. Now I say short is a relative term. It's not, there was no negligence on anybody's part, but mental health, as far as that's concerned, the difference will be, none of the mental health difference will be received. So we won't be counting on that 200,000 there. Maybe some of the public health money of 300,000 between what we've received to date and the budget we maybe received, and maybe some of the $800,000 economic grant, and anything unreceived there would carry into 2019. So really would carry from one budget year to another. Sean, anything you want to add on that or no?
Well, just like the grant record of development, that's not a reimbursement basis. If something happens, you're not going to get reimbursement in the year.
Right.
So it's highly likely that any expense, any amount of that you're not going to spend 18
into 19. Okay. So nothing really alarming there, I guess, is our point with that particular one, even though it's in the red through 12/31. Federal aid, DSS, obviously we're on a 60 to 90 day lag there. According to a report filed by Michelle Russo, that we had a letter, Cheryl, I don't know that you handed that out, but anyway, she issued it right around the time that we had our organizational meeting, and the claims are filed through November. And she texted me the other day, or emailed me, and said that she thought that December's would be filed by the end of this week. So, as you know, we looked to get the previous month's filed by the 20th, so pretty much on target there, and our reconciliations are done according to them through the month of September. And as you recall, we were looking for no more than a 5-month lag there, and so we're keeping a pretty good pace there, so that all those reconciliations will be done in time for our audit to be done by our treasurer during the month of March. Intergovernmental charges, you see that's in the red at 82%. Not a large number there, but election chargebacks, we've received only $67,000 of a $135,000 budget, so about 68 shy there. And the jail boarding, we've received about $72,000 of $175,000 budgeted, and we obviously won't be receiving any of that, because that's all recognized within the calendar year that it happens. So those are the major contributors to that number as to why it may be falling short of what was originally budgeted. On the expense side, under the expenditures, education, FMCC is paid in full, and other community colleges paid in full, with their chargebacks. It's over the budget due to an increase in our contribution to FMCC that we approved during this past year, and it's paid in the month of December for the January 1st quarter. And home and community services, as you can see at 111% there, that is really being offset, and it's because of the garbage situation that we ran into, where we had to start dumping it out west due to a change with our relationship with Fulton County about mid-year, and that caused those costs to go up, but it's being offset by the departmental income that you see up on the revenue side of this general fund of the $614,000. So at least we have an offsetting characteristic there. Another thing that I asked, and you also have a handout regarding this, the treasurer to do is, I wanted, as I looked at this, I wanted to get some understanding of some of the overages that we had experienced and why, what contributed to it. For instance, property tax items, our budget variance $735,000 to the good. I mean, obviously a good thing, but you know, what's inside that number? And you can see got about $510,000 of that between the beach and unemployment penalty, the target expansion, and the Dollar General comprise the lion's share of that amount. So I just wanted to get a better understanding for those numbers for all the rest of us, so that we could get an idea, you know, why we exceeded budget. And obviously exceeding budget in the revenue category is a good thing. State aid, DSS, we're up about $1.5 million, and according to Sean, child care and juvenile delinquent monies and coming in total about $1,789,000. So that's really a lot of that, obviously offset by some other expenses, but that's what caused that to skew upward, which was a positive thing. Sean, anything you want to add to that, or? I mean, it's a function of claims filed in those worlds?
Those based on the claims that Michelle has done, those two programs are the ones that contributed to that category being overrun.
Okay. Yes.
So those are claims filed, not actual what they approved of our claims.
That's for claims filed and recorded
Through November.
But not reconciled.
and reconciled through September.
So through September.
So what is the trend between claims sent in and reconciled back? Are they
It's
leveling
not
out?
100%, I would say it's
Yeah.
80.
So there will be some adjustments. I can't give you a percentage or a number, but there definitely will be some adjustments.
Okay. When will, Legislator Patel.
Keep going, guys.
When will we be aware of them? By February, March?
Well, as she does a reconciliation, I get entries, so like I said, I would anticipate a total reconciliation probably till at least the end of March.
Right.
For any-
When it's time to do our audit, right.
But I would say that the fact that those reconciliations are now being done on a monthly basis is a big step ahead of where we were last year. So now we're gonna have a much more accurate idea month to month of where that's gonna be. So that's, if nothing else, a good thing.
But will we be able to file our audit on time with the federal government being shut down, so therefore we won't be able to reconcile that quarter?
That I don't know.
We're gonna have to ask Mr. Trump.
I'll get my mind.
Legislator Patel.
Don't get me started.
I guess my question as far as reimbursement goes, with the contract we just renegotiated with CSCA, will that affect our reimbursements? Will we get some retro from that?
I probably say we will not, because I believe every year, they claim up to the administrative cap that they have. So, you could claim above your cap, but you're not gonna receive anything above your cap.
All right, and continuing on in the general fund for large variances, departmental income, up about 614, and as we said, certainly offsetting, the category that we were talking about, the home and community services. But, inside that number, DSS repayments 474, refuse and garbage charges 228, so 702,000 of that 614 came from those two sources, obviously offset by other expenses. On the expenditure side, general government support, and we're at 371,000. 349 of that is personnel reclassification, which will bring that 371 down to about 20,000 or so. So that'll bring that number more in line with the budget. That entry will be passed this month, correct, Sean?
Correct.
All right, education, we said a minute ago, it's over by 58,000. 45 of it was chargebacks to other community colleges and contribution to FMCC. And home and community services, the refuse and garbage at, well, the overage and expense of 371, 391 of it was refuse and garbage charges. So just wanted to, for the sake of all of us, get a little bit more of a read inside these numbers here. Moving, Legislator Patel.
On the refuse and garbage charges, is this an opportunity, or is this a time we should be looking at the tipping fees?
The tipping fee did increase $1 at 1/1, and we're in the process of finishing a study.
See how much.
It's highly possible we may have another readjustment in the year, based on what this study.
Yeah, we want to have some solid backup before. I mean, anecdotally, we can see that we're lower than some of the other areas.
So you got
some of the
room
other
to,
options.
yeah.
But before we went in there, we wanted to make sure we had a good backup, so.
Make sure we're at market or
Correct.
not competitive.
All right, no other discussion on the general fund. We'll go to the county road fund. Just a couple of revenue categories here. Miscellaneous, I mean, obviously it's a $13,000 figure. It's not even impactful to our budget, so. But the state aid, that is, of the $3,375,000 budgeted figure, $1,435,000 in claims were submitted in 2018, which will cause the carryover of $1,940,000 into the 2019 budget. And I just wanted to take a moment. Last meeting we were talking about using contingency to fund the snow contract settlement, and I had spoken with Sean on the phone prior to the meeting where he indicated some of the unused CHIPS money, there may have been a way to, through accounting entries, to have used some of that out of the DPW budget.
And obviously, we had a little discussion on that. We can't use CHIPS money for any other reason and things of this nature, which is certainly understandable. But Sean, I'd just like you to take a moment to explain better than I was able to off of our brief phone call before the meeting last week, what you were talking about insofar as that maneuverability with that CHIPS money.
What I was explaining to Mike is it wasn't a direct use of CHIPS money to fund the increased snow contracts. Because I was advised by DPW that they did not utilize very much of the CHIPS money this year, and that a lot would be carried over. So I said, really, the only big line item that DPW had in their budget, the defund budget, was the maintenance of roads and bridges, which is money used outside of CHIPS. It wasn't using CHIPS money directly, it was using his maintenance money.
Okay.
So that's the avenue that I should have been more clear to the legislature.
Well, perhaps it was
And like I
my
said,
deficiency in understanding what you were saying, so I'm not asking you to, I just wanted the rest of the legislature to know that somehow CHIPS money was mentioned in that discussion of ours. So, but thank you, Sean.
my understanding is they're gonna get at least a 2.4 plus a 1.9 to use next year for CHIPS projects.
Right, okay,
So it'll be considerably higher than they've had in the past.
yeah. Hopefully the weather cooperates.
It's a good thing we didn't take money out of that, because it would
Yeah.
need more money added back in to complete the projects, being there's excess CHIPS funds that
Yeah.
they didn't use.
Well, it was $20,000, and so it wasn't like it was a monumental amount in relationship to the line item of the budget. But. All right, so with respect to the road machinery, there's no large variances there that we go on and explain. Onto the road machinery fund, revenues transfers in simply. It's done on an as-needed basis, and it wasn't done then. And on the expenditure side, fringe benefits up 116% or $30,000, $30,500. Last year it exceeded budget by about $54,000. And Sean, I just wanted to ask you to take a minute to explain how fringe benefits can hypothetically be exceed budget in a situation like this.
Well, the way we handle the health insurance claims is that the individuals that fall under the road machinery funds is based on their actual claims. So the people that fall under the road machinery fund, the amount of the claims that actually were received was higher.
If there's no other questions on road machinery, moving to the health insurance fund, you can see that our intergovernmental charges are below budget here, but that's just a matter of, it's billed on a quarterly basis, and it would be at 100% once the fourth quarter is booked. So nothing alarming there. However, on the miscellaneous line item, over budget by about $195,000, 61,300 were insurance recoveries, and 116,000 of that were employee contributions. So that was 177,000 of the $195,000 overage. So that's all I have on the dashboard here. Is there anything anybody else would like to bring up? No? All right, hearing none, motion to adjourn. Legislator Kelly, Legislator Sweet.